I had just realized something and I want to talk about it. When I was younger, I would say in my early and mid 20s, I was always trying to find a way to prove myself. I would leave the house. I would never stay at the house. I if I have the weekend off after training, I would go stay at my friend's house, or we will go watch movies, or we will try to find something, or I simply just don't stay home at all. And I didn't have a good relationship with my family because I was always on my own. I always felt like a black sheep. I see things differently. I was born seeing things differently. I always feel different. I always see different. I always think different and act different. And when you grew up like that as a black sheep, you felt like no one could understand you. And so when I felt like that, I felt like I had to look for someone who can understand me because my family couldn't, right? Because growing up, it's normal that parents are like yelling at you when you're not doing something that they told you, or when they expect more from you or things like that. It's normal. But for me, it felt like, why can't you understand me? It felt like I don't have support from my family. But I was too young and I was only looking at, is it because I'm not good at math or science? That's why I don't have your support. You know, I play basketball for high school. I made the team. I play for the school. I play for university. Do I have your approval? Like, do I have your support? I need new shoes. Can you support me on that? If you can't, so why can't you? Like, I never really asked for any, like I was having all of these things. The only thing I wanted to do was to leave anywhere. When I first got my car with my mom's help, I went everywhere. I went to Bangkok. I went to Ayutthaya. I went to other cities. Like, I went to many places. I would drive to Bangkok and come back and go there and come back and go in there and come back very often. I was like on the road all the time. But I felt free. I felt like I had the freedom that I've always wanted. And so I was, kept on doing that. And then one day I wanted to go abroad so bad because I went abroad when I was in a university. And I've always looking for ways to get back there because I like the freedom that I have when I was abroad. I like the acceptance. I like the attention when I was there. It's normal as a young age. So I always wanted to get back there. I applied for visa. I went to interviews. I think I did like 6 interviews for the past 2 years, and it was also during COVID. And after that, I gave up, and I was like, "What else can I do? What do I have?" I was looking for my skill. I was looking like, what else can I do with my life? And so I thought, I have English. I can speak English. So what am I gonna do? I decided to drove down to Phuket. I was so desperately. I didn't even tell my family that I was leaving. I packed up everything. I dropped my friend off at Bangkok and I went down to Phuket. And since I arrived there, I cut all the contact. Actually, my family was cutting contact with me because they were really pissed off from what I did. And I was like, this is it. This is actually probably the end between me and my family. But I still have support from other people. So I was like, I'm going to make it. I drove down there. I didn't even have a place to stay. I booked a hotel. When I arrived there, it looks like a ghost. It looks like a haunted place. I was crying because I was driving like 18 hours straight. I didn't stop and sleep anywhere. I was driving. When I was tired, I stopped at gas station, but I just kept on driving. I really, really wanted to get there. And I didn't have a place to stay. So I arrived around 11 p.m., tried to get a new hotel and finally got it. And I remember that right the next day in the morning, I had to go work on the new job. I already got a job. And so I ended up didn't like the job. I had to move. There's so many things happened. So 5 years went by. I never came back home once. But the last year before I come home, I started to talk to my family a little bit more. I started to contact them. I started to, and there's one circumstances that I had to come back home. I came back home that time and I was like, this is before I came back home, I was healing myself. I was like working on myself, for my inner world. Like I felt like I was really chaotic and I need some peace. So I was working on myself and I was like, I was good. The only thing I need to do was to reconnect with my family, was to make peace, with my family. And I had to come home and I wasn't sure how things are going to, how are things going to be. But I always felt this guilt in my chest because I was the one who left. And I wasn't sure if they would forgive me, if they would pretend like I don't exist, or how would they react to me. But instead, my mom came to pick up me from the airport. She drove about an hour and a half to come pick me up. And then we started talking a lot. She was so bright. She started to talk about her job, her friends and everything. We started to talk. And during those time I was home. It was about 2 weeks, I think. I felt like I felt relieved. I felt like I finally succeed at reuniting with my family because they're not toxic. They're never toxic. They just didn't understand who I was. I didn't even understand who I was. And so how could I expect them to understand? But I think I was looking for like the unconditional love and support, but they were worried. They were worried whether I'm going to make it to university, whether I'm going to make it to, in real life. They were worried. And so I understand. Now I understand. And so we reconnect. We went out dinner. We went out having dinner together. We talked. We laughed. And I felt like I'm back. And I felt like I have healed this guilt that has been heavy on my chest for the past 4 or 5 years since I left. And after that time that I was home, I went back to Phuket, and then I think 6 months after that, I decided to come home and move back home completely. What shifted was when you were young and out in the world, you try to find your people, you try to find your life, try to build your life, try to prove that you could survive, that you could make it without them. The more you do that, the more hard lessons you will face. And I have met so many people. I have gotten very close to many people, but I realized later, after I changed who I was, I would say after my frontal lobe developed completely, fully, I see things differently. I look at things differently. I found that life is so much more meaningful than what I was trying to look for. And no one could support you the way your family does. No one will still be there for you, even though you didn't have anyone else. Mm, that honey was perfect. So that was the hard thing that I learned, that I was looking for I was looking for other people who can understand me, who can, who doesn't make me feel like I'm the black sheep of the family, who accept me. But those people I was looking for, they are my family. The the only group of people that I have been running away from, the only group of people I have been avoid talking to, avoid telling them about their process, avoid letting them close, avoid getting close to them. And so, right now I'm actually like, I'm so grateful that get to come back home now. I'm so grateful that I get to spend time with my mom and grandma, because grandma is getting old. My mom is going to retire in a few years, and they both are getting very old. And I'm glad I wasn't too late to realize this. Otherwise, I would probably, there would probably be no, like, there's probably no going back for me if I hadn't had a chance to heal this family wound, if I hadn't had a chance to connect with them again and take care of them again. Now I want to spend all day with them. Now I want to take them places. I want to eat with them. I want to, take them to the hospital. I want to take them to the market. I want to, we talk, we laugh, we joke. Even with my grandma, there's so many things that I have no idea about her. There's so many things I have no idea about my grandpa. There's so much I don't know because I was never here. And now I'm here and I'm so grateful. I want to share this as a lesson for someone who doesn't see the value of the things she already had. She was desperately looking for external things when what she needed was internal, which is herself first, and then her family. I'm not saying that all families are the same, but my family, even though they don't understand, they always support. Even though they would yell at me or say something when I asked them for help, they would still help me. But I had too much of an ego and pride that I couldn't see. That was a heavy thing to talk about. I actually never talk. Actually never shared this story to anyone. But why did I want to talk about this was because it's it's the only wound that I have to heal in order to step up in life, in order to improve myself. It's like there's always this block of guilt in me. I could never go further than where I was. I could never do something that is I could never find things that was really meaningful to me. I was just struggling, scraping to find something. But when I heal this wound with my family, it's like doors open, doors of opportunities, doors of hopes and life. Like, I don't have the guilt anymore. So when I remove that guilt, I become a new person that has my family support, you know, that doesn't feel shame to be who she is, doesn't feel shame to do what she wants. And right now I'm doing things that I want. I'm walking on the business path that I planned for myself. They don't understand, but I don't want them to understand. It's okay. I want to show them when I make it. They ask sometime, what am I doing? Like, you know, but they ask politely because I think they learned from the past that when they approached me the wrong way, I ran away. So I don't think they want to do that again, because coming back home this time, they stopped talking about things they used to talk about, because they don't even care what I'm going to do with life as long as I come home. Unconditional love and support, the two things I've been looking for in strangers, is actually right here.